Whether you're working on lowering your handicap or just trying to keep the ball on the fairway, one thing is for sure. The 19th hole is always worth showing up for, and that's where Dan Murphy's steps in. Proud sponsors of Make Me Good at Golf, Dan's has the perfect post-round drinks thanks to their lowest liquor price guarantee. You know you're getting unbeatable value every time. Just like your golf game, they're all about bringing those numbers down in the best way. So swing by your local store or shop online. Dan Murphy's, where low scores and low prices go hand in hand. T's and C's apply. Remember to choose Drink Wise, even if your handicap is a work in progress.
Welcome to another episode of Make Me Good at Golf, a golfing podcast where three mates get together and try and improve their golf game, and we're inviting you along for the ride. Joining me today, Mr. 71, Damien Fleming.
Thanks, long ball. You say three mates. A lot of the time it's two mates.
It is indeed where, we've got, it's hard to align three schedules
Where's
these days.
Mr. 48?
Mr. 48 is off on other comedy-related business.
Oh, so he's playing golf.
We'll get to that a bit later on. I am Mr. 300, or Long Ball Lehmo.
Long ball Lehmo.
And what a pleasure it is today to welcome to the show someone we got to know during his AFL career.
Yep.
Playing for Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles. But he now is embarking on a journey that we're loving, and it is a golfing journey. And he joins us on Make Me Good at Golf. Jayden Hunt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, lads. After seeing Pete's first tee shot on the Live Adelaide, I guess it is a comedy adventure, his golf game. Very, very good stuff.
Yeah, it's a rotten game, isn't it, Jayden? So tell us, mate, where are you right now?
I'm back in Victoria. I'm just overlooking the National, actually, about to head out onto the old course this afternoon, which would be nice. So back to my roots. I love it down here, but just been, back from the States on Thursday.
Well, you're embarking on a pretty crazy golf journey at the moment, and perhaps we'll get to it shortly, but let's get your golfing background first up. Can you remember when you first picked up a set of clubs and or when you first fell in love with the game?
Yeah, I used to play a little bit with Dad and stuff. I think the first photo of me playing golf was a little 3-year-old with plastic clubs down in Malakuta.
Yeah, right.
Down Gippsland Coast. And then basically played just like bits and bobs sort of growing up. Played a little bit with Dad. He was an original Kingswood member, which has now become
Kingswood.
So I used to, play 9 holes with him at the Dingley track when I was probably, around the 14, 15, 16. And then basically didn't play for a while when I got drafted for a few years. And then sort of, a few years into my footy career with the D's, I started to pick it up. There was a few boys like Jack Watts, Roe Bale and things like that at the D's that played. So I sort of played with them, a few of the older guys, and then got all the other young guys involved. There's a big golf sort of culture at the D's, so played heaps.
And were you handy from early on? Like when you were 14, 15, 16, were you a low handicapper then?
No, I didn't really play that much. I was probably, I don't know, in 18, 20 or something. Never really took it that serious. And then I guess I just got the bug when I was like 22. Played for a few years around sort of maybe low teens. But then I joined the National maybe in sort of like 2018, and then basically went from sort of a handicap of around 10 to, I think I got to like 1.5 in sort of a few months just from playing more.
So you're a former and maybe current professional athlete. So you're someone who knows how to set goals, set a program, work towards it. Is that exactly what you did when you went from 10 to 1?
Not really. Like back then, I wasn't taking that seriously. It was just more time on the course. The actual COVID little situation actually helped me a lot. So there's a few of us. We got shipped.
That's
out
a line you do not hear very often. COVID helped me, so I'm glad I'm glad there's a silver lining somewhere.
Oh, we were probably the only industry in the whole of Australia where it helped. But before we got shipped up to Queensland, a few of us, because we were training at Casey every day, we actually moved down the coast. So I think me, Max Gorn, Jake Lever and stuff, we all moved down to, I actually moved down to Blairgowrie. So I was around the corner from the National,
Yep.
especially sort of the end of summer there. I'd go have a round or whatever if I had a day off, go have dinner and then go out sort of twilight by myself with a couple of balls, 9 holes, and it was just magic.
Yeah.
So just sort of going from once a week to sort of twice a week and maybe having a practice 9 as well. I think just hours on the course for me especially is the biggest improver. And I guess that's what makes it hard for people, just finding time to actually be out there.
And Jay, to go from like AFL to professional golf, so the way that you've mapped it out, or is it just sort of evolved over time? You know, did you think at the end of my footy career, what am I going to do? I'm starting to love golf and, you know, I'm going to get a coach and, you know, I'm going to try and do all that sort of stuff. Or did it come out really of just the love of playing golf?
Well, it was twofold. So I reckon maybe a few years ago, it was probably when I signed with West Coast, I probably predicted it would be my last sort of contract. I was keen to always retire pretty early, sort of. I didn't want to go too far into my 30s, but I wanted to get into the golf industry. So I've been working towards a few businesses and stuff. But in terms of the actual Q school thing and the pro thing, that was a little Christmas little bet with a friend. We were having a beer and West Coast didn't have a massive golf culture. So I went from I left the National, I leased out my membership, didn't play much in Perth, especially for the first couple of years. So I went out from sort of a 1.5 to like a 7 handicap. And I was sitting at about 6.5 at Christmas. And I saw one of my friends was going for Q school. And you only had to be, I say only, but you only had to be below a 1 handicap. So you had to be a 0.9. And so I said, I think it was 2 months. And I said, I reckon I could do that. My mate's like, no, absolutely not. I was like, I can. I'll play every day. I'm unemployed at the moment. I can literally go and play every day. And he's like, there's just not a chance. So that's what I was just like, why not? And I actually said in interviews, it was quite funny. People didn't, as you guys would know, people don't actually, they read the headlines saying this guy wants to be pro. I never really wanted to be pro. I'm nowhere near good enough. Like, I think I'm good enough to get the scratch, which I did. But to compete at that level, you have to be off like a +5 or 6 minimum. But I thought I'm good enough. I can challenge myself to make the cutoff and enter it. Why not? It was a couple of grand. I got a couple of sponsors to pay it anyway. And I had heaps of fun with it. I was the only one out, Moonalink smiling. It was the most tense environment I've ever experienced. I was laughing the whole time, but I get it for them. They're playing for their whole livelihood. I didn't have much skin in the game, so I enjoyed myself. That was just a little 3-month mission for me.
And what do you notice between you off scratch to a +5? The difference in your games.
To be honest, I actually, and this is why I was always confident to actually do all right. I had a bad couple of holes that cost me, but I think with the Australian guys, me playing with them on a social day, they'll just cruise around on some white tees or something, shoot like -8 or something ridiculous. And I cannot do that. Like my best round's probably 2 under or something. And I struggle to break even most rounds. But when it comes to the crunch, like the Q school scores aren't actually very good, like compared to what they're capable of, just because of the pressure.
Yeah.
It's all just like mental. And I love that side of it. Like, I have my best rounds when there's something on the line. Like I love actually being locked in, whereas I suck at social golf. I'm just not locked in. I need something to play for. So I don't know. I always thought I'd do well. I did a lot better than people thought just because of that fact. But I guess that's the difference between these guys and then the PJ, like American Tour or the Euro Tour or the Live Tour. Like those guys love the pressure as well, and that's why they're making the big bucks. But the difference between sort of the Australian pros compared to the ones that go overseas, like skill-wise, I actually don't think that's massive difference. I think it's all in the mind. And the better I get at golf, the more I realize it is just ridiculously such a mental sport, as everyone knows. But the better you get, I think the more mental it actually becomes.
I played with a +5 handicapper once. We played with him together. He hit 65 off the stick at Box Hill, and I said to him, Jayden, have you ever thought he was a club pro where he was based? I said, do you ever think about turning pro? And he looked at me like I was an idiot and just went, not good enough. Like to him, it was just he just wasn't even in the game at all. And he was a +5, and he couldn't have had a better day at Box Hill that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're ridiculous. They are absolutely ridiculous. I actually, little story about the Masters. I think the coolest thing I saw the whole week that I was there, on Saturday, Rory McIlroy had a shocker. I watched him putt out on 18. Then I went and cruised. Like I went to Amen Corner pretty much by myself and a group of Irishmen. It was just so cool just sitting there, like no crowd or whatever. And then anyway, the security started kicking us out. I was walking towards the gate and I saw Rory on the range. It was pitch black. There was lights on. And I like was walking towards the exit, which is the other side of the range. And I just saw he was aiming at a flag. I reckon it was like maybe 210 meters. And he obviously was hitting sort of like a 5-iron or something at it. And it turns out he missed that shot during the round and cost him a bogey or something. I saw him hit 20 shots in a row from like 210 meters to 3 foot. Like, I kid you not.
Yeah.
It was the most craziest sporting like feat, like sort of skill, I guess, I've ever seen. And I was just by myself. I was like looking around, just like gobsmacked. And finally, like this American guy came up. He's like, "What are you reacting to?" I'm like, "Watch this." And he'd hit the next 3 to 5, like 3 foot as well. Like I'm talking like a 210 meter shot. It just shows like they are like, it's all pressure. Like it's all in the moment. They can do this like skill, which obviously none of us can do. No scratch golf can do that sort of stuff. So it's what happens on the day with this pressure with the crowd and the situation and all that. But it was just, I don't know, it was such a cool moment to see that. And then I thought he's going to win tomorrow because like he's now got the confidence, he got the shot back, and yeah, luckily he did.
And he
but that's specific training, isn't it? That you love to hear. And he doesn't have, a sports science guy like in the full forwards at AFL where they're not allowed to, stop kicking for goal and all that sort of stuff. They're their own bosses and their own coaches in the end. So when he's got that shot the next day, how confident is he? He's trained it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm guessing like he just wouldn't have been able to go to sleep without.
No,
like you don't want to go to have that shot the next day and think about the previous day when you stuffed it up. But now he's got 20 shots up his sleeve. Like exactly right.
And Jayden, I wonder. So when he stuffed that shot on whatever hole, did you say it was the 11th or whatever it was?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but when he stuffed it, I wonder if in that immediate moment, even while the ball was in the air, if he went, right, as soon as I finish, I'm hitting the range and I'm hitting this shot 30 times until I absolutely nail it. Or was it a thought that he had after he finished the 18? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
none of us would know.
He would. I would imagine he'd park that. And try and grind as much as he can for the end of the round. And then quickly he'd go, okay, what didn't work? And I'm going to go and practice it on the range.
Yeah. Hey, and Jayden, just for people playing along at home, just to go back one step, explain Q School for us.
So basically it's just like this qualifying, I guess, 2-week tournament. It's like first week is 3 rounds. What is it, 3 or 4 rounds, and the next week is 3 rounds. And basically, everyone's playing for 25 cards on the Australasian PGA Tour. So a lot of like the good ranked guys, they miss the first week. And then basically it's an open invite to go in it as long as you're under a 1.0 handicap. And basically, it's 3 rounds in a row. There's a cut after a couple of rounds. And then I think it's maybe the top half of that then goes to the next week. So you got maybe 150 odd blokes that sign up with 25 cards on the line. It's just obviously all stroke and so these guys, no matter what they do during the year, like it all really comes down to this. Like my friend Lachlan Aylan's missed out by like 1 shot 2 years in a row and things like that.
It's brutal.
It's just crazy. Like there's things that happen. Like for me, for example, I had a triple bogey because I went out of bounds by a meter. And it was like 2 meters off the fairway. Like it wasn't even that bad a shot. But like, I can imagine if I was actually in contention and stuff. Like I just don't know how they mentally, like you say, you need to move on. I don't know how they do it. Like in footy, you can go hit someone or something. Like you can't do that in golf.
Well, you can.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't go down well.
Happy Gilmore it, I guess.
Yeah. So
it's just so intense.
Yeah. So you missed out on the Q School qualification, but you've taken on this project where you're playing, is it 52 of the top 100 courses in the world in 52 weeks? Have I got that right?
Yeah, so it's pretty much playing, one a week for a year, averaging out. I was going to go straight into work, and I've got a few sort of a few other sort of golf related businesses in the background.
Yeah.
But again, at Christmas, I'm like, let's do this Q school thing for a couple of months. And then I've been playing for 12 years, and golf and traveling are two of my passions that I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted. Especially the traveling bit. Like, I love traveling overseas, but I always had a time frame. I always had to keep an eye on my fitness. I had to run and gym and still. So I still, like, we get a lot of time off. It was really good. I've seen a lot of the world, but I've always wanted to live overseas. I've always wanted to not really have a schedule and things like that. Sort of the things I guess most people do when they're 20, 21. And I thought, why not? I'm 31. I still feel young. Let's just live like a year, almost like a 21-year-old, but with a few more stuff going on. And then this golf thing I got access to these really good golf courses. And I'm like, why don't I do a little doco series about it all? So the first American stint, which I've just come back on, was a little bit of a tester. I was just by myself. I got given a couple of cameras, but I'm very tech poor, I guess. So I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have time. Like, I needed someone with me. So I've actually come back to Melbourne for 2.5 weeks. I'm meeting with a few videographers. A few friends are now going to join me for different legs, and sort of create a little doco series about it all. I want to sort of interview people around these golf courses, so like the caddies, the pro shop staff, the bartenders, like, because they meet the coolest people every day. Like, someone was telling me about like caddying for Leonardo DiCaprio at Pebble Beach. Like, the caddy was telling me about that.
How good.
All this cool stuff.
Yeah.
So where are you up to in your journey? How many of the 52 have you played, and what were some of the courses in America you recently played at?
Yeah, so I think I played 6 or 7 in America. And then basically these next 2.5 weeks, there's a 7 in Australia, the top 100. I've played them all, but not this year, and I haven't sort of done the interviews. So I'm going to tick a few of them off, and then when I come back in August, tick a few more. So I'll sort of have the 7 Australian ones.
So what are they? What are these 7 Australian ones?
So 2 Royal Melbourne, Kingston Heath, New South Wales, Barnbougle, Cape Wickham, and Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've played all of them, but I want to do it sort of all in this year. So I'll hit up my Royal members in a few weeks, and then it's handy. My mum's at Victoria. I got mates at Kingston Heath and New South Wales and things like that. So that'll be good. But the ones in States I knocked off. There was a course in Kansas in the middle of nowhere called Prairie Dunes. It's like number 27. So that was a really cool experience. Such a cool course. I played obviously Pebble Beach, which was really cool.
Nice. In fact, I think we've got vision of you dropping. So let's have a look at your birdie at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, it's for birdie. 18 at Pebble. Super fast putt. Little right to left. Slightly. Go left. Finally going. Wow. Nice putt.
Make Me Good at Golf is all about lowering your handicap, and with Dan Murphy's on board, we're lowering more than just your scores. With their lowest liquor price guarantee, Dan's makes sure you're never overpaying for that well-earned drink after you're hit with mates. Whether it's a post-round beer or a celebratory bubbly for that unexpected birdie on the 12th, how good was that? Dan Murphy's has your back. Great drinks, lowest prices, and always within reach, online or in store. Dan Murphy's, proud sponsors of Make Me Good at Golf, and even prouder price cutters. T's and C's apply. Remember to choose Drink Wise.
Yeah, mate, what was that like? You've hit a birdie at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough. The 2 iconic par 5s, I birdied them both. I didn't do too much else that day. I was sort of lost in the moment. But it was such a cool place. It's interesting. It's a public course, so the round takes it was close to 6 hours, which is crazy.
No. Right.
Just because they jam-pack the tee times, and everyone, especially going through that little stretch from sort of 4 to 10 where it's all on this cliff, it's pretty hard not to stop for photos and stuff like that. But yeah, on 18, I'm thinking, we went to the back tees. It was right out in the ocean. I actually pushed my drive right into the bunker, fairway bunker, and I hit a pretty good like low 4-iron to about 100 meters. But I had this big oak tree in front of me. I can send you the video of that as well.
Yeah.
Went over it, put myself to maybe 12, 15 foot, little downhill slider. And for some reason, on the 18th, I always back myself with the putter. Like, the putter's my saving grace. And I told my caddy, I'm like, there's just not a chance I'm missing this. It's Pebble 18. They actually had this like big function on. So there was like jazz music in the background. Like It was meant to be. And I sort of halfway through, I'd already put my finger up. I knew it was going in. Luckily enough, it went in. So yeah, I've obviously seen some pretty cool shots. I remember Tiger Woods hit sort of a 3-wood under a tree there to win one of the US Opens or something like that. So it's a pretty cool moment. And then, just went to the bar, had a beer overlooking the course.
Very, very nice. How hard is it? So it's a public course, but how hard is it to get on?
So, I got lucky. I think the tee times open like 3 months in advance and they basically go in the first 10 seconds. But I often just like ring and just ask, like, is there a loophole? Is there a way in? Luckily, I was by myself. So I rang 2 days before. I said, I want to play in the next few days. I'm sort of driving up from LA to San Fran. Is there any chance? And the lady was like, yeah, there's one chance. Like, you ring at 7 a.m. the day before. And if someone's pulled out, you get the spot. And she said, often it's only one spot. I was like, oh, perfect. I'm by myself. And she said, do not ring at 6:59. Like, you won't go through and then you'll get put later. So you got to be spot on. And I have like this Casio. I have a Casio watch from Japan that runs in seconds. So luckily I was just on it.
Right.
As soon as it ticked over to 7 a.m, I rang. I was the first on and got a tee time for the next afternoon, which was really cool.
And how far does, like, in America, when you drop the Jayden Hunt ex-AFL player here?
Well, to be honest, that doesn't work.
Really?
But all I had to do in the States was open my mouth and they loved me. Like, it was ridiculous. They love the accent. I think a Bogan accent sucks, but there it's almost turn it up a bit and everyone loves you. Like J.R. Smith, who I didn't even know, this NBA player, 2-time world champ. I met him at the Masters week and he just loved me. No. I was like, I got a photo with him and my mate, Jack Petrocelli, old Eagles player, messaged me. He's like, do you understand he's like a big dog? I'm like, oh, I knew he was tall, but I think they all respected me, the sort of NBA guys, because like I didn't really care about who they were. I cared about golf, and he actually has a really cool story. It's similar to me. He retired at 35 after winning 2 championships. I think he played with LeBron or something, and then he went to college for college golf at 35. And he went on a few web.com events. And so we had similar stories and we just talked mud about that stuff.
That's so cool. I love that. You know what? We should chase him to get him as a guest on the pod as well. We'll get on to that. Hey, Jayden, so you ended up with 3 people in your group at Pebble Beach who you didn't know. What were they like, the 3 you played with? Were they just random Americans?
Yeah, they were basically, it's just such like I guess, Pebble and that whole area, because there's like 8 really good golf courses there. That area would be almost like Barnbougle or King Island and stuff for Australians. It's just such a golf location, golf trip location. So 2 of them were on golf trips and they just snuck in. A few of their mates were in other groups. And then one guy had just driven like 8 hours from somewhere else in America to be there. He had his wife in the buggy with him. She didn't play golf, but she was just there because it's just such a cool place anyway. Like it's beautiful. And then, basically got a beer with them and there's these communal tables out on the 18th. So I just went there every night because I played a few of the other golf courses around the fire and just talked to people all around the world. Like, there was a few Irish people, English people, Scottish people, Kiwis, all this stuff. And it was really cool. They then had these functions on where they were hitting glow-in-the-dark balls to the 18th from like sort of 50 metres out. So we were just having beers, just ripping into these rich Americans in suits, which was very funny.
That is gold. Now, what about after you play the Australian 7 of the top 100, where you're journeying next? Are you getting over to the UK?
Yeah, so basically my plan is I'm only here for 2.5 weeks. I'll probably play the Sandbelt courses, a few of them. I've got I got 2 more games with Drysdale Footy Club. So I'm playing 3 AFL games down the coast.
How many did you kick on the weekend?
Kick 7.
7.
Oh, very
somehow.
nice. Actually, did you play a game of footy in LA while you were there?
Yeah, I played for the LA Dragons in like an intra-club game. It was actually the 3rd sort of like local team I'd ever played for, other than my sort of junior team. But I went from, the D's to West Coast to the LA Dragons. It was very, very funny.
Nice.
Will you get drafted by them? Or?
Yeah, hopefully. Well, it's pretty funny because I had to train. I hadn't done anything since September. And I wanted to perform for Drysdale, which I played on Saturday. So I ended up, I didn't know there's 48 AFL teams around the States. They love it. So I ended up playing with LA, trained with DC, went to a jumper presentation with San Fran, the Golden Gates or something they're called.
Yeah.
And then trained with New York as well, which was the coolest place I've ever trained ever. It was overlooking the city, out on this pontoon in the Hudson River or whatever it is.
Right.
It was just so funny. They love it. And they all try to the Nationals is in September. You got to come back for it and all this stuff.
Well, actually, former teammate, Tim May, he's president of the Austin AFL team.
Oh, is he?
I think Mason Cox's brother plays in that team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think Mason went to the carnival last year to watch out, to watch them and stuff. Yeah,
And
they love
Jayden,
it. I think Austin's the team to beat.
Yes.
They're the team to beat. Tim May's onto something there. I've actually interviewed people before who play down in South America, and so there'll be a team in Peru and a team in Colombia, and I think they fly to America to play as part of the American competition.
Yeah, it's all in Europe and stuff. My friends play for the Copenhagen Crocodiles, I think it is, and it's crazy. I had no idea.
I played one game for the North London Lions back in the 90s.
Okay.
Nice,
Yeah.
Well, back to your question. Yeah, I'm back to the States for 3 weeks. I'm actually bringing West Coast player Noah Long, who's injured his knee again. So we're going to do a little bit more in America because I just didn't leave enough time. I'm going to the US Open in Shinnecock, which would be cool in New York. And then I'll go to a few World Cup games, maybe an NBA playoff game. And then I'm off to, which I'm most excited about, Ireland and Scotland.
Wow.
So I'm very, very excited for that. I love links golf. I've never been over there.
And what's on your list there? Or is there too many?
Playing them all the good ones really. So some of the ones like Royal County Down, I'm very excited for. Royal Portrush. What else is there? Tralee, Lynch, Old Head. There's just Ireland, Scotland is ridiculous. Royal Troon. There's just such good golf there. Oh, St Andrews as well. I think I'm trying to tee up. There's a iconic lady. I don't know if you guys have been to St Andrews, but the pub just around the corner apparently is just the place to be after. The atmosphere is insane, and there's a really iconic bar lady there. So I'd love to be able to interview her because she would honestly have the best stories.
I would have thought so there. Oh, yeah, and just, back to it. For us who haven't been to the Masters, and I've had mates that have been over and they said it's the best sporting event they've ever been to. How did you find it?
Oh, country mile. That, I say to people without joking, that was the best week of my life. It was just so cool. The whole place, it was my first week ever in America. Went straight to the Masters. I felt like I was in a lucid dream or something. Every centimeter of that place is designed for the patrons. You call them, not the spectators.
No, exactly.
You know how to say that word.
Yeah.
But it's just all designed. And the best thing about it was the no phone policy. So you're in the moment, and because I was by myself mostly, you just put your chair down. You put it in. I got to the sort of course at 7 a.m. You put your chair down in a good spot. Then I was actually going back to my accommodation to sleep a bit. And no one touches your chair. It's just so much respect. Sits there all day, and you can go sit in other people's chairs if they're not using it. And basically, if they come back, they just go, "Excuse me, sir." But it means by yourself, there's just always little gaps. So I was able to get some ridiculous good viewing points. On 18 when Rory putted, I was in row 2 amongst all the Augusta members somehow. I snuck in there and watched some cool tee shots on 16 and just some really, really cool stuff. But I ended up just meeting golfers because like you end up just chatting to people. And I had a little spectator's guide with my grey lead sort of golf pencil, and after the week there, I looked at my sort of booklet, and I had about 80 phone numbers from all just like members of golf courses all around the world. So to be honest, that's how I got onto a lot of these private golf courses. I just met people at the Masters, and then I'll return the favour in Australia as well. So I hosted quite a few Americans at the National leading up to it. So it's really good. I love golf, like in that aspect. It's like you just help each other out.
And it's something you can do forever. There's no age limit on golf. You can play it until you're 90. So these contacts can exist.
Peter Hoskins at Riversdale's 93.
You can play it until you're 100.
You said 90.
No, I don't want to leave Peter out of this, by the way. Hey, Jayden, we are loving your ride. We're loving your golf journey. If people want to play along, how can they follow you and what you're up to?
Yeah, so it's been on my Instagram at the moment, but we're working. I've got a few meetings coming up, so it might be going onto YouTube, potentially a TV channel. But yeah, one of the ones I've sort of been doing this project with Golf Loot. So it's all about we're about to get an editor, a proper videographer to make it sort of this doco series. So Golf Loot, this sort of raffle member-based golf thing, they're helping out. They actually just auctioned off a round with me at one of the Sandbelt courses. But yeah, basically on my Instagram at the moment, I've got a little podcast as well that I'll get up and running once I take it. So that's called the Grinner Golfcast. But if you just sort of, follow me on social media, the next sort of few weeks, I'm going to get more clarity on what it all sort of looks like. It'll go from my sort of F grade filming on my phone to a proper person that knows what they're doing. And I can just concentrate on playing golf and sort of interviewing people, which is what I'm better at.
Good stuff.
We can't wait to follow your journey.
We are loving it. Quick couple of questions before we let you go. What are you playing off right now?
I think I'm off like a 1.3 or something, but okay. I didn't put any rounds in America because they play breakfast balls and gimmies and stuff. But right. I don't know. Maybe I reckon I was playing off scratch in their little games and normally winning. So I reckon maybe in the next few weeks I'll put some handicaps back in.
We want an update. We want an update when you finish with the Sandbelts.
I'm sniffing a +1.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Hopefully, that's the aim.
That's what I'm sniffing. And one we always ask to our golf guests on the show, if you've got an 11 a.m. tee time, what time do you arrive at the course?
The aim would be 10. The reality would be 10:58, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like me, Jade. You're like me.
Useless.
I just cannot get there early.
Yeah, I know.
Particularly as much as I want to.
The closer the golf course, the later I am.
Yeah,
If I go to the National, I might get there an hour early, but at Riversdale, 5 minutes away.
That's the one you struggle with. And Jayden, if you're playing with a mate and they duff a tee shot, do you let them have it or do you just say nothing?
Oh, it depends who it is.
What happens if it's Peter Hallier teeing off at Live?
Oh, no, you give it to them because then he'll just crumble.
But, he crumbled, Jayden, didn't he? He crumbled.
He did. I was on the range next to him beforehand. He couldn't even hold his hand still. He was shaking. And then obviously it didn't work out because I actually didn't see the shot, but I heard the reactions.
Yeah.
It is. Jayden Hunt, we love your work. We're loving this golf journey. We can't wait to see where it takes you over the next 12 months. And, mate, thanks for joining us on Make Me Good at Golf.
Thanks for having us, fellas.
Good luck, Jade.
Cheers.
Beauty.
If you're listening to Make Me Good at Golf, chances are you're trying to lower your handicap. And just like your swing, Dan Murphy's is all about keeping the numbers down, especially when it comes to price. As proud sponsors of the pod, Dan's brings you their lowest liquor price guarantee. So whether you're celebrating a PB or still struggling to get your handicap moving in the right direction, you're never overpaying for a post-round drink. Dan Murphy's, great drinks, lowest prices, and one more way to level up your game. T's and C's apply. Remember to choose Drink Wise.